Hi everyone! Thank you so much for joining Sustain Life Journal Yoga today. We are going to be moving through a 30-minute Hatha yoga class, including a meditation at the end. You can go ahead and get started in a reclined Supta Baddha Konasana pose, bringing your feet together and your knees out wide. You can keep your hands by your side on your mat or bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your heart. And then begin to take deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just really starting to tap into our breath and how it feels in our body as we move through this hip opening flow. A lot of yogis say that emotions are stored in our hips. So by doing hip opening poses, we can release some of those stored emotions. We'll stay in the Supta Baddha Konasana pose for a few more moments. Feel free to move your feet farther away from your body if that feels better in your body. That can lessen the intensity a bit. Gently begin to bring your knees together, bringing your hands to the outsides of your thighs, and make your way into Apanasana pose with your knees drawing towards your chest. You can wrap your hands around your kneecaps, or you can bring your hands together, making yourself into a tight little ball. Maybe rocking side to side or forward and back. If you brought your hands to your knees, you can slowly begin to make circles with your knees, drawing your knees in and around, just starting to warm up our hips. And when you feel ready, you can bring your knees in the opposite direction. When everything feels even, you can bring your feet down to your mat and then lift your right foot up towards the sky, bringing your hands behind your thigh, your calf, or your ankle, and gently drawing your knee towards your chest. Moving into figure 4 pose, allow your right foot to come on top of your left knee and allow your right hand to push your right knee away from your body. You can stay right there in that pose, or you can thread your hands through your legs and grab onto your left thigh or your left shin, drawing your knees closer towards your chest. If at any moment this pose feels uncomfortable for you, you can release down into a less intense pose. Just be sure to really check into your body. Slowly release out of your figure 4 pose and bring both of your feet down to the earth. On your next exhale, bring your left foot up towards the sky, and again we'll reach our hands behind our thigh, our ankle, or our shin, going to the place that it feels best in your body, not pushing yourself too far. Take a deep inhale, and on your exhale, allow your left foot to come to the top of your right knee, using your left hand as a way to gently push your knee away from your body. And you can stay right there, or you can weave your hands in between your legs and hold on to your thigh or your shin. If you've started to lose focus on your breath, now can be a good time to just return your attention to your inhales and exhales. It's more important in our yoga classes that our attention stays on the present moment or our breath rather than what the pose looks like. You can begin to release your legs down to the mat and then make your way up into a seated position. Really root down through your sits bones and take a deep inhale through your nose, and then slowly start to walk your hands out in front of you. It doesn't really matter which shin is in front or behind because we're going to be doing both sides, but only go down to where it feels comfortable in your body. If your hands are just a few inches in front of you, that is totally okay, as long as you're feeling the stretch. So that's what you really need to tap into. Take a deep inhale through your nose, and on your exhale, slowly begin to walk your hands back to your knees, and then switch the cross of your legs. And again, we'll bring our hands to the earth and gently start to walk them away from our body, allowing your chin to come towards your chest and just releasing into the earth. You might feel a little bit different on this side in your body, which is totally normal and totally okay. Just be sure to adjust accordingly to the sensations that you feel on this side rather than trying to copy whatever you did on the other side. Begin to unwind and coming up into a seated position. You can roll over your shins, making your way to a tabletop position, and then allowing your hips to come down, moving into Malasana, a child's pose. Bringing our feet together and our knees out wide, and our hands extended out in front of our heads, reaching towards the top of our mat. And again, dropping into our inhales and exhales through our nose. On your next exhale, begin to push up onto your hands and knees, moving through into mermaid's pose, allowing your hips to come down towards the front of your mat and gently looking up, allowing your chin to reach towards the sky. Focus on pressing in through your palms. And then on your exhale, allow your hips to come back into child's pose, bringing your forehead towards the mat. Rise up into mermaid pose, bringing your feet up behind you, pressing into both of your hands evenly. And then finding your own pace and rhythm, moving in between our child's pose and our mermaid's pose. Follow your breath and what your body needs. The next time you make your way up towards a mermaid's pose, you can stop in tabletop position on your hands and knees, and then tuck your toes and lift your hips, moving back into downward facing dog, our very first downward dog of class. So you can go ahead and bend one knee and the other, maybe moving your hips side to side, and just getting settled into our first down dog of class. I even encourage you to move your feet towards the very back of your mat or closer to your hands, just trying new things out. Take an inhale, lift your right leg up behind you. Bend your knee and then open your hip up. We're going to take some circles with our knee. They can be big circles coming close to your chest, or they can be tiny ones. And then you can reverse the direction of your circles, just warming up our hip. Bend your knee, draw your knee towards your chest, and then step it in between your hands, dropping your left knee down onto the earth and rising your hands up over your head, moving into a low lunge. Allow your hands to come to your hips or to remain over your head. We'll be in this low lunge for a few moments, so be mindful of how your left knee feels. If there's too much pressure, you can always roll your mat up a bit to create extra padding under your knee. Just allow your hips to drop down. On your next exhale, make your way into a plank pose, coming up onto your hands and feet, and then allowing your hips to move back into a downward facing dog, bringing your chest toward your thighs and pressing deeply into our hands. Begin to lift your left leg up behind you, and then bend your knee, opening up your hip, and we'll take those same circles on our left side. You can move the circles quickly or slowly, whatever size. Just find what works best in your body. Begin to draw your left knee in towards your chest, and then place your left foot in between your hands, moving into a low lunge. Rise your hands up over your head and allow your hips to move down and forward. But don't let your left knee go too far over your ankle. You definitely don't want it past your left toes. And then again, you can bring your hands wherever it feels best for you. Maybe to your hips or on top of your left knee or up above your head. Gently allow your hands to frame your foot and step your left foot back into plank pose. And then allow your hips to come back, moving into a downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Reach your right foot up towards the sky and then bend your knee and bring your right foot in between your hands, allowing your back foot to spin down and then open up into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Our hands are stretched out wide in front and behind us, and our right knee is directly over our right ankle. Moving into Reverse Warrior, dropping our left hand on our thigh and reaching our right hand up over our head, stretching out the front of our body. Cartwheel your hands down to the mat, and then bring your body to a plank pose, and then shift back into our down dog. Lift your left foot up towards the sky, Bend your knee and step it through in between your hands. Spin your back foot open, moving into our warrior two. And just focusing on our inhales and exhales. Drop your right hand down towards your thigh, moving into our reverse warrior pose. Spin your hands down towards the outside of your foot, step back into our plank pose, and then shift your hips back into our downward facing dog. Take a moment to reset as we begin to slow down our practice. Begin to tiptoe your feet towards the top of the mat, and then we'll move into Malasana. Toe heeling our feet out towards the edge of our mat, and then dropping our hips down in between our feet. You can begin by moving side to side on your heels and toes, or you can find stillness bringing your hands to heart center. Malasana is a pretty intense pose, and some people's heels will reach the floor and others won't. I have pretty tight hips, so my heels don't always reach the floor, and that's totally okay if you are the same. Begin to make your way out of Malasana by bringing your hands behind you, and we'll come to sit on our bottoms. Extending our feet out in front of us, maybe shaking them a little bit, and then slowly making your way onto your back. Begin to draw your knees in towards your chest, and then allow your hands to come to the outsides of your feet, moving into Ananda Balasana, happy baby pose. If it doesn't feel comfortable to bring your hands to your feet, you can bring your hands to your thighs or even your shins. You can rock side to side, maybe extend one leg and then the other. Just getting into those last spots in our hips and legs, as we'll soon be moving into our Shavasana. Slowly begin to release and unravel your legs and hands, moving into our final resting pose, Shavasana. And I invite you today to take your Shavasana in the pose that we began in our Supta Baddha Konasana, bringing our feet together and our knees out wide. But if you'd like to do a more traditional Shavasana or any pose that feels good for you, you can do so. So begin to bring your attention back to your breath and just let go. If any emotions came up for you in class today, that's completely normal. And just notice them, don't judge them. And today's quote is brought to you by Anne Lamott, and it says, "Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you." So thank yourself for taking a few moments to unplug and focus on you today. If you'd like, you can begin to roll over onto your favorite side, coming into a fetal position, or you can remain in your Shavasana pose. begin to deepen your inhales and exhales. And you can start to move your feet around and your hands, just waking your body up to move forward with the rest of your day. And I invite you to stay for our seated meditation. You can remain in your Shavasana pose or come up into a seated position. Your hands can come to your knees, lengthening out your back, bringing the crown of your head up towards the sky, and gently closing your eyes or keeping your eyes at a soft gaze in front of you. In our meditation, our only priority is keeping our attention on our breath. It's totally fine and normal if thoughts begin to pop up in our brain, and we don't have to attach to them. We can just let them go. So begin to bring your attention on your breath, and I will let you know when the meditation is complete. Allow your awareness to reawaken to your physical space, taking deeper inhales and exhales through your nose, and maybe even moving your hands and feet to bring more awareness to your body. You can gently start to open your eyes as you move on with the rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining Sustain Life Journal today. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope this class has brought you even a little bit more peace and awareness to your day. Feel free to leave a comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time.